Hello, welcome to my channel. It's good to have you here as always, and today I want to cut a beautiful kimono, a kind of batwing kimono like you saw in the intro video. And for this particular tutorial, we're going to be needing 4 yards of print. Yes, this particular tutorial takes up a lot of fabric. So if you want to start cutting, it is important to know how much fabric you need. So I have right on the table folded 4 yards of my lovely dashiki print. So you will need that. You need your scissors, you need your ruler, you need your chalk, and you need your tape rule. Yeah, so these are the materials you need for the video for this Batwing Kimono tutorial. So for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate your comments and thank you for watching. You can still subscribe if you've not done so. All you need to do is click on the button below the video and subscribe. And you can also turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss my videos as they drop. Feel free to like, comment, and share to your friends so we can all benefit from this free video tutorial. So now to start cutting, for a kimono batwing like this, you really don't need so much measurement. All you need is your length, the length of the kimono you want. You also need the bottom width. It depends on how wide you want it to be. But this particular kimono I'm going to be sewing or cutting is going to be a free size. The only difference is if you are really on the big side and you have bigger wrist, so you want to take that into consideration. So what I'm going to cut is going to be able to be worn for a size between a size 8 to 20. So let's get cutting. So I'm going to be using the full length of my fabric. Now, as I told you, I folded into 4, into 2, then into 4. But if you look at the way I placed it, you're going to be noticing that it's not equal folds. One of them, the part that is opened, as you can see, is a bit wider than the folded part. So the open part is about 1.5 inches. So you want to fold exactly this way. So this will be the front, the center front. And this part that is folded is going to be the back, center back. So now once this has been done, what we want to do now is to measure from the fold down to the end of the folded fabric this way. So it's the part that is folded close up that will be your sleeve. So we're going to cut our neckline first. We're going to be starting using the back piece. So we are cutting both the back and the front together. So the width of the neckline for the back, I'm going to be using 3.5 inches. Okay. Then for the depth, I'm going to be using 1 inch. So I'm just going to trace that. Okay, I've done that. Now, don't forget, you always have to cut out the selvage because you don't want to make, let's take out the selvage. You don't want to let that appear on your sewing. So it's very important you take that off before you start. Now, I've done that, so we can just cut that, the 2 pieces together, the back and the front block. So, okay, and I've done that. Now, to get the length of the sleeve, we're going to use the full length. So all you need to do is measure your nape, center nape, all the way to your sleeve to see where you want it to be. So I'm going to be using the full length of this, and I have 29 from the center. So from the center of your back, which is your nape, all the way to the sleeve. So I'm going to now take off about 3 inches from the side. Then I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to connect that point all the way to the neckline. So now I'm going to cut that off. So if you notice, I didn't touch the neckline. Okay, I just made a slant. The next thing you want to do is to check the width, because this will serve as your sleeve width. So we want to make it wide enough to accommodate this part of where the sleeve is going to end. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use 8 inches and half for the allowance, so 8.5. Okay, so from this point now, I'm just going to do, I'm going to connect this point all the way to the bottom. Now, to know how wide my bottom is going to be, I'm going to measure that. I'm going to place the tape from the center back at the bottom, and I want it to be about 50 inches wide, or we can do 46 inches wide. It doesn't have to be so free because it's open. So we're going to connect that point to the bottom. So I'm going to get my ruler and make almost like a V all the way to the bottom. So that's what you need to do. Okay, now I'm going to cut. I'll just add about half an inch or 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so you can see we're getting the shape. So I'm just going to take off a little more at this point because I left a little too much. Yeah. So now the next thing we want to do is open this part up because it's closed. So I'm going to open that up. All right. So now we've done this. The next thing we want to do is the front neckline. We need to take care of the front neckline. You know, we did for the back, but the front isn't ready. So I'm going to take off the back piece. You don't need to take the entire back piece off. You just want to lift it. Then we're going to make like a curve. Like that. So that caters for the front. So this way, we've been able to cut the kimono. All we need to do next is to sew. We're going to get bias binding. You join the shoulder first, then you get your bias binding for the neck all the way to the front, to the bottom. Then we're going to fold the bottom as well. Then for the sleeve, you can decide to add the band to make it longer, or you can also decide to just fold and leave it the way it is, or use your bias binding to fold. So note that you can also reduce this. It doesn't have to be this wide. I just did this for the sake of people that are a bit bigger, so we can make this slimmer, okay, to accommodate or fit around your arm the way you want it. So now let's get sewing and see the end product. So now I've turned the opening in the front with the bias trimming. I've folded the bottom, I've closed the sides now, and even the top part of the sleeve. So this is what I have for my sleeve right now, and I'm going to have to close this. So I need to do a turn up for this. So I got the fabric folded into two, and I made sure I cut almost exactly the same thing at the bottom, as you can see. But as it goes up, I cuffed it. I made the top wider to fit this. So to cut this, make sure you place on it and get the exact bottom plus half an inch sewing allowance. Then the up here where it's going to end as well, the exact with half an inch sewing allowance. So right now I'm going to sew from the inside. I'm going to close this first. I'm going to do this like this, okay? I'm going to stitch around it, turn it, and I'm going to put that right inside this, stitch on top on the right side, then the sleeve is going to fall on top, and that will give me my sleeve. So to get, if you want, for this particular kimono, you can decide to put a pocket like I'm going to do for mine, because I love pockets. So what I'm going to do to put my pocket, I just cut a piece of fabric and I folded this into it almost like a rectangle. So I add 12 by 10, and as you can see, I folded the sides with the iron, and the top I folded a bit bigger. Then I stitched on that. Now I'm going to place on the side of my kimono top. And to get exactly where you're going to place the pocket, measure from the top of your shoulder to where you feel is going to be good for you. So for me, I measured from the beginning to about 20 inches. So at 20 inches, I placed my pocket slanted this way. So it's going to outwards, facing outwards. So I'm going to get my pin, then I'm going to stitch right over it. And then you have your Batwing trendy kimono jacket. So if you liked my video, do not forget, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. So till I come your way next, it's bye from me.